Hello, 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 show with no namers. Can I get an amen? Now, can I get a hallelujah, brothers and sisters? Yeah, now you're talking my language. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your hats. It's time for liftoff. Let's go. 5, 4, countdown with me, folks. 1. We have got a lot of stuff to do today. I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. Here we go. I'm about to lose control, and I think I like it. Oh, well, I'm so ready. Hold on to your hat. Sing it. On your seatbelt. And I just can't hide it. Hold on to your hat. Get ready for the ride of your life. The show with no name time on Fun Radio. Come on. It's a show with no name. Here we go. Let's go. Welcome, show with no namers. Wow. I am still buzzing from last night. I am buzzing. Estoy vibrando, buzzing, bzz, zumbando. Thank you. I can't say thank you enough. I am the luckiest guy in the world. So many of the people I love and care about came last night to hang out, to spend a night together where we shared, we played, and most of all, we celebrated 16 years on the air. This show has been a teenager for over 3 years. I guess that explains why the show is so rowdy. You gotta have a sense of humor. Rowdy, alborotado, pendenciero. I love that one. Pendenciero, like penitentiary. Like a criminal, right? Does that work? Disorderly, rowdy. But there is a method to my madness, as you know. There's always a reason behind everything we do here on the show with no name. And if you notice, a lot of things are linked. A lot of times the name that lyric will be, well, somebody who's celebrating a birthday. And maybe I'll try and link that to the double trouble, and I'll link that to the homophones. Well, I want to make it fun. I want to make it a game. Something I have always wished on every class I've ever had. Before the class, I say a little prayer, rezo. I say a little prayer for you forever and ever. I say a prayer that we have fun. I know we're going to learn. Because I'm going to teach you no matter what. Things are going to come up. We're going to play. But the most important thing is when the class is over, you're all like, oh my God, we're done? That was fast. Not the other way around. No al revés. And I've got to say something. You guys are conducive to that. I can't ask for better students. Now, you recognize the word? Conducive, conducir, conducive. Sí, os hemos copiado. Correcto. But if something is conducive to something, it's favorable para, bueno para, si queremos decirlo formalmente, conducente a. Also, we did really copy you. Well, you guys are conducive to a fun, exciting atmosphere because you're always down for a challenge. Esto es interesante. En inglés puedes decir, you're always down for a challenge or you're always up for a challenge. Isn't that great when you have options? Well, it's time for our first challenge on today's show. It's our pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Pop quiz. Yeah. All right, all right. That's right. It's our pop quiz. And this is, well, an opportunity for two things here. A, I get to tell you about all the amazing materials we have at our Von Tienda. Materials that I get behind, that I believe in 110%, that I've even contributed to. Well, I've got my own 5 books, as you guys know. But also, I have contributed to the audio in the Disney Vaughn collection, which you can get that whole collection. Now, you used to be able to get it one at a time, which I know for me, that's very difficult because sometimes I work on weekends. So for me, getting one issue at a time, one book at a time, uh, it's not easy. So now they know there are people, I'm not alone, there are other people out there like me who would prefer to just wait and get the whole collection. And now you can get the magical Disney Vaughn collection. It's put together by Jimena Holiday and Carmen and many other talented people, Claudia from our team. And then many of us also provided voices to that and many other materials. So that is for the kids. And even for you parents who are reluctant, reacios, because you're thinking, oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Dad, I don't know the English. How am I going to read my kid a story about, Moana or Vaiana, as you call her? I'm not going to know that vocabulary, the waves and the tide, la marea. Don't worry. We have already thought about that. And you can read it in Spanish first. You can listen to it. So you can actually prepare the lesson beforehand. So you can trick your kids and say, I know that word, of course, because you studied it beforehand, right? You crammed it in there. To cram es estudiar todo al último minuto. De hecho, viene de la palabra embutir. Right? If you cram the meat into the sausage, well, you cram all the information into your brain. Now, they say it's not good to cram. It's better to learn things little by little than trying to make your head explode. But, talk to a procrastinator. And the verb, we can say to procrastinate or to put off, So I'm putting it off right now. What material are we going to look at today? We are going to look at the backbone, okay? There are 2 things that I think every Vaughn teacher, 2 minimum, then they also have other books, other materials in their arsenal. But there are 2 that every Vaughn teacher cannot be without. And that's our translation lists, and that's the student manual. Well, for us, it's called the teacher's manual. But there was such a big demand for it that people said, wait, but what is that book that you're doing the exercises from? I remember the students asking me, but Alberto, I love this exercise. What is that book? I'm like, oh, no, you can't buy this one. This one's just for us, the teachers. It guides us through the Vaughn method, and, it gives us all the tools we need. Obviously, your own creativity comes into it, but the Vaughn method, I mean, God, it's the Bible for the teachers. And then you do that along with the translation lists, and you've got the Vaughn method there. I mean, it's in there. If you go through that, and I don't mean go through it. I mean go through it. Because I had students, I remember once, we were looking at a translation list, and these students were pretty high level. They were executives. They spoke really good English. They had to in order to keep their jobs. And these guys, they loved all these idiomatic expressions. They loved, spitting them out left and right. But then when it came time, to do a translation list, a typical translation list, that's even, I think in this case, it was below their level. Or so I thought. And so they thought as well. Lo pensaron ellos así también. And I'll never forget, I pulled out the translation list and I'm like, okay, let's, we've got 10 more minutes left here in class. Let's go through the translation list we looked at in the last class. And the student said, along with the support of the other student, I won't mention any names, and said, well, we already looked at this. I mean, we know this translation list. Oh, I'm like, you do? You know it? Okay, let's go. Boom, 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 boom. I started drilling. I'm like, está en la mesa. ¿Dónde está? ¿Sabes dónde está? And in every one, and these were high-level students, but in every single one, there was that I'm like, what do you mean? You said you knew it. There's no you shouldn't be, there shouldn't be any hesitation between when I say it and when you say it. Está en la mesa, it's on the table. Yo ni respiré. ¿Dónde está? Where is it? You understand? And so that one thing is knowing a translation list. And another thing is really knowing a translation list and getting faster. You can time yourself, cronometrear. That's a very, no sé si lo he dicho bien en español. That's a very common word in English, very, I should say, logical word to time me. And that's something you do in class. Now, if you're going fast and you're not pronouncing it and you're not putting it together right, then we're not interested in speed. Like I tell you here on the spelling bee and all of that. I prefer you get it the second time and it be correct than the first time wrong. And another trick with the translation lists, which I do it in all my classes. If you listen to FYI, I do it in there too. Play with it. So you can just look at, for example, the simplest structure, it's. Bueno, primero hay gente que dice ETs. That's wrong, right? It's not ETs. It's, right? So, vamos con una básica. We're going to see I want to see how long it takes you to get it here. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Dudaste? Did you say what time is it? Did you say what time is it? Because that's not right. Okay, it's you're kind of there, almost. Got to just a couple little adjustments. So, ¿qué hora es? What time is it? No debería haber ni un segundo ahí. Okay, ¿sabes qué hora es? Do you know what time it is? So again, if it took you a little bit longer, then you need to practice your indirect questions. But right there, we've looked at a direct question. What time is it? Verb, subject. And do you know what time it is? Which is subject, verb. The same as an affirmative. It is, contraemos, it's 12 o'clock. It isn't 11 o'clock. Y ahí acabamos de ver las cuatro. You're not going to see it. It is. You just used it in every possible way you can use it, right? It isn't. It is. Do you know if it is? Is it? Question. And there, you don't just know one sentence. You know a structure. You know it inside and out. And I can't stress the importance of that. And also, you're making the most of a material because the translation booklet, okay, maybe it has, let's say, 50 translations per page. Well, if you do the method, the quadruple method, we can call it, the quadruple A method, well, then really you've got 200 different sentences to practice your English. And that's how you know you really know it. So we're looking to eliminate that thinking time, and we're looking at pronouncing it. That's why everything comes with audio. So we're going to listen to some audio right now from our translation booklets. If you don't have these, guys, it's under $20, tons of hours of audio, and it's just so useful. And if you do what I said, well, then it's a lot more translations than come in the book, because now you are putting them through the ringer, to put them through the ringer por todos los diferentes posibilidades. So this is, since you guys are pretty advanced, this is from Translation Booklet 7. The good thing is now they're all in one book, but they used to be separate books. So this is from the highest level. Give it a listen, and then, as always, I'll have a challenge or two for you. Todo saldrá bien, ya verás.
Everything will turn out fine. You'll see.
Si hubieras venido, habríamos ganado.
If you had come, we would have won.
El ganar no es lo más importante.
Winning's not the most important thing.
Pero es mejor que perder.
But it's better than losing.
Les venceremos.
We'll defeat them.
No tienen salida.
They have no escape.
Están atrapados.
They're trapped.
No hay ninguna forma de que puedan ganar.
There's no way they can win.
Nuestros jugadores son mejores que los de ellos.
Our players are better than theirs.
No me digas.
You don't say.
Siempre te estás quejando.
You're always complaining.
Todo el mundo trata de complacerte.
Everyone tries to please you.
Agradezco todo lo que habéis hecho.
I appreciate everything you've done.
No sé lo que habría hecho si no hubiera sido por vuestra ayuda.
I don't know what I would have done if it hadn't been for your help.
Todo saldrá bien, ya verás.
Everything will turn out fine. You'll see.
Los espantapájaros no espantan a los pájaros.
Scarecrows don't scare away the birds.
El mío sí.
Mine does.
¿Por qué el tuyo sí?
Why does yours?
Porque se basa en una nueva tecnología.
Because it's based on a new technology.
¿Qué clase de tecnología es esa?
What kind of technology is that?
Tiene un chip que percibe el movimiento.
It has a chip that perceives movement.
Cuando hay pájaros cerca, reacciona.
When there are birds nearby, it reacts.
¿Cómo reacciona?
How does it react?
Produce un sonido que los ahuyenta.
It produces a sound that scares them away.
Es un sonido que los humanos no oyen.
It's a sound that humans can't hear.
Translation List 8.
La luna influye en las mareas.
The moon influences the tides.
El Consejo de Administración aprobó el nuevo presupuesto.
The board of directors approved the new budget.
Las previsiones de ventas son buenas.
The sales forecasts are good.
Nos vamos a forrar.
We're going to make a killing.
Me duele la muela.
I have toothache.
Me duele la garganta.
I have a sore throat.
Cuidado.
Look out.
Menos mal que te agachaste.
It's a good thing you ducked.
¿Tenía que haberme agachado?
Was I supposed to have ducked?
Fallaron por un pelo.
They missed by a hair.
La echo mucho de menos.
I miss her very much.
No puedo continuar sin ella.
I can't go on without her.
Ella es mi inspiración.
She's my inspiration.
Él no puede guardar un secreto.
He can't keep a secret.
Es un bocazas.
He's a big mouth.
Nadie le aguanta.
Nobody can stand him.
Se comporta como un niño.
He behaves like a child.
Tiene rabietas cuando no consigue lo que quiere.
He has tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants.
Tiene un tornillo flojo.
He has a screw loose.
Pierde los estribos a menudo.
He loses his temper often.
Algunas personas le tienen miedo.
Some people are afraid of him.
Le gusta intimidar a la gente.
He likes to intimidate people.
Siempre se sale con la suya.
He always gets his way.
Es un pesado.
He's a pain in the neck.
Algún día le echarán de aquí.
Someday they'll kick him out of here.
¿Conoces Weekend Town? La nueva iniciativa de Vaughan.
Pues no.
Es un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. Y es nuevísimo.
A ver, cuéntame más.
Tendrás una inmersión lingüística total durante 2 días. Un total de 24 horas hablando con angloparlantes de todo el mundo.
¡Wow! ¡Qué interesante!
Ganarás confianza y soltura a la hora de comunicarte en inglés. Mejorarás tu comprensión auditiva y tus habilidades conversacionales en una situación de comunicación real en inglés. Ven a Weekend Town y te sorprenderás con todo lo que puede avanzar tu inglés en un fin de semana. Weekend Town de Vaughan. Un fin de semana de inmersión en inglés. More information about Weekend Town, Vaughan Town, or any of our amazing initiatives, just go to grupovaughn.com/weekendtown. Cursos destacados. All right. Wow. Wow. That was chock full of amazing vocabulary. We had the past conditional in there. I would have gone if you had invited me. That's difficult. Even a lot of Americans say, I would have gone if you would have invited me. I would have gone if you would have invited me. That's wrong. Without the getting tongue-tied. We don't double would. You can't put would on both sides. So I would have gone. Vamos a usar el mismo verbo. It's the easiest way to see it. I would have gone if you had gone. I would have participio if you had participio. So it's really important that you know your come, as you call them, that third column. We saw a few different examples of that. We saw a lot of what we call totally native expressions as well. So now I want to see what you were able to get from this audio. Remember, it is from Translation Booklet. It's all in one. It used to be, as I said, like these little thin booklets, and there were like 7 or 8 of them. And now you can get them all in one. They fit in your pocket, and you can download all the audio on your phone or your tablet, which the audio is really important. You want to make sure, especially if it's a new word that you're not familiar with, that you're pronouncing it correctly. All right, so the first one I want you to give me is to frighten somebody so that they run away. All right? So it's ahuyentar. Esa es difícil para mí, eh? Espantar. They said the word espantapájaros, para espantar. That was Fitz over there. You had Fitz, you had Jimena, myself as well. All of us who were at the event last night. Thank you again, guys. I'm still buzzing. So, the first one, espantar. What do I want you to do? Well, as always, I want you to use it in context. You can use it in your context, right? We've got Halloween around the corner. Well, this is kind of a Halloween-y word. All right. The next one is forrarse. And believe it or not, this is very Halloween-y too. If you heard the expression, it's got a word that's associated with Halloween. Hey, I didn't plan that, folks. All right, so number 1, espantar. The second one is ganar mucha pasta, forrarse, you say in Spanish. And the last one, you say something very similar. And you say in Spanish that le falta un tornillo, right? A este tío le falta un tornillo. You can use me as your example. I don't mind. I know it. So it means to be slightly crazy, right? Chiflado is a good way to say it. All right, these are very, very native words, expressions, phrasal verbs. And of course, they are coming from the latter pages, los finales, the latter pages of our Vaughn translation book. Again, you can pick it up at vaughntienda.com. You can go online to vaughntienda.com. Or if you live in one of these cities, Madrid, Barcelona, Bilbao, Vigo, Valladolid, Valencia, Santander, or Zaragoza, we would love to meet you. Stop by in the flesh, in carne y hueso. All right, so that's your pop quiz. We've got to go to a quick commercial break right now, but we have got a lot of stuff to cover when we come back. We're going to take a look at our Say What soundbite. We've also got our spelling bee. We've got homophones, double trouble, name that movie, name that lyric, and so much more. So, you guys know how this works. We are gonna take a quick break. I'm talking like in the blink of an eye, we'll be back. So you know how it works. Say it with me. What's that phrasal verb we use every day here? 3 times a day? Say it with me on the count of 3, 2, 1. Stick around. Hey, amigos. I told you we were going to be back in a flash, in the blink of an eye, in no time. You say in un santiamen, if I'm not mistaken. In un plis plas. See, you aren't the only ones who want to learn cool, totally native idiomatic expressions. I mean, I want to express myself like a native. And that's what we try and do here. I think not just on the show with no name, but also on Vaughn Radio. I don't want you to sound like AI. You say EA, we say AI, artificial intelligence. It's al revés. I don't want you to sound like a robot. Nobody wants that. I want, as I always say, I want your personality to come out. And that comes with familiarity, you know? Feeling comfortable with the language. And the more you practice it, the more you surround yourself with the language, the more comfortable you'll feel. It'll feel like your favorite chair, you know, your favorite corner of the house. Oh, and speaking of, question of the week. Last week we looked at your favorite spot, your favorite corner in your house. This week, I want to know if you hold grudges or do you let things go easily? If you want to participate, you can send me a 1-minute voice message to alonso@grupovon.com. Many of you have participated already. But if you'd like to participate, you have until the end of today to tell me if you hold grudges, guardar rencor, if you're spiteful or you let go of things easily, right? You don't let things fester. When something festers, it's, well, if you guys have seen The Addams Family, Uncle Fester, and to fester is to descomponerse, pudrirse, enconarse, right? Yeah, enconarse, to cause resentment. So we'll look at a lot of great vocabulary, and we'll hear from you guys on tomorrow's show on our question of the week. I'm really looking forward to it. And if you want to participate, send me a 1-minute voice message. You can send it to alonso@grupovon.com, but make sure you do it before the end of the day today, because if not, we won't be able to hear from you tomorrow, and I'd love to hear from each and every one of you. But right now, we're going to hear from who our celebrity is in our Say What soundbite. Say what? What? All right. Your Say What soundbite, amigos. We're going to hear this soundbite 4 times in today's program. You'll have 4 chances to write down what this celebrity is saying. And this is just a chance for us to train our ear to get used to all different accents, cadences, all kinds of vocabulary and situations. And I want to see also if you can give me your take, your opinion based on what you heard. So is everybody ready? Here it is. This is your Say What soundbite for the first time.
For me, it hit me a couple of years ago, and when I noticed we're playing live, and I'm looking out, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder, and the son is fucking 6, 7 years old,
Yeah.
going,
All right, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's your Say What soundbite. I'll give it to you again in just a moment. Just want to give you a second to let that one sink in, asimilarlo, and then I'll give it to you again. Everybody ready? Here's your Say What soundbite for the second time.
for me, it hit me a couple of years ago, and when I noticed we're playing live, and I'm looking out, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder, and the son is fucking 6, 7 years old,
Yeah.
going,
Hey, Damian, what's crack-a-lackin', buddy?
Hey, Alberto, I was planning to do some sports this week. What about playing baseball?
Ooh, baseball. I love it. But I'm not sure yet. Can we touch base next week?
Touch base. Estamos en contacto, ¿no? Hablamos en algún momento. Yeah, okay. Let's touch base. Okay, what about basketball? Do you want to play basketball?
Oh, man, I love basketball. It's one of my favorite sports. But I don't know if I can this weekend because I've already got plans. Oh, man, that's the way the ball bounces.
That's the way the ball bounces. Así están las cosas, ¿no? Así bota la pelota. Así bota la pelota. That's the way the ball bounces. I love that expression. Okay, what about tennis? Do you want to play tennis?
Well, I love tennis, but I'm not really a good player. If you don't mind playing with a novice, the ball's in your court, buddy.
La bola está en mi campo, ¿eh? La pelota está en mi tejado. All right. Do you want to play some soccer?
Sure, I'd love to play some soccer or football, as you call it. What time do we kick off?
Perfect. We're kicking off at 9. Are you available?
Sure, but I might have to play some golf before with some friends. It's par for the course.
It's par for the course. Es lo normal, ¿no? Es lo normalito, lo que se hace.
Mhm.
Okay, what about billiards? Do you like playing billiards?
Yeah, but right now I'm behind the 8 ball.
I'm behind the 8 ball. Estás detrás de la bola 8, como que llevas las de perder.
Yeah, wow, a lot of idiomatic expressions here.
Muy buenas expresiones. Si es que así da gusto aprender inglés con un profe como Alberto y un poquito de creatividad, tienes This Book is the Shit. El mejor libro para aprender inglés que te has echado a la cara in your life. Píllatelo, vas a disfrutar mogollón de dibujos para que lo aprendas todo fácil, con conexiones lógicas y divertidas. Es la manera más sencilla y más divertida de aprender inglés. No te la pierdas.
Damian, you're such a good sport. Te enrollas. You can pick up your copy of This Book is the Shit at
Vaughantienda.com.
It's the shit. No doubt about it, folks. If you don't have my latest book, This Book is the Shit, you can pick it up at Vaughan Tienda or wherever fine books are sold. And I want to get a nice round of applause for everybody who is participating. So many people learning English, laughing, and playing with us on the show today. Thank you so much for joining us today and every day. As I always say, it's an honor to have such driven students. Si no te llevas la palabra driven, I don't know. You're going to drive me crazy. Drive driven. Hey, it's not time for double trouble. No. It's time to check your pop quiz answers. And as I said, so many people. The first one was to scare away. So if you notice, Fitz said, the scarecrow scared away the birds. Fijaos, scared away. La D va con el away, right? Tiene todo, I mean, it makes sense to scare, asustar, para que se vaya, espantar, same thing. You scared her away. I used to do it with girls all the time. Oh, man, when you said that, you really scared her away. So to scare someone away, and as we said, the word scarecrow. Also, be careful. I remember I had a student tell me once, I'm scary. que doy miedo. And I said, whoa, I have to ask your husband, I guess. She meant I'm scared. She had a big meeting that afternoon and she wanted to say I'm scared, but she said I'm scary, que doy miedo. So just remember, scary movie porque da miedo, aunque es una película de risa. And with Halloween around the corner, well, it's good to look at the macabre. Macabre. We say macabre. Yeah, mucho sílaba ahí muda. Mucha sílaba muda. So to scare away. You're going to scare her away if you keep talking like that. Or, now, funny how we call it a scarecrow. Aunque está hecho para espantar todos los pájaros, tenemos alguna obsesión con los cuervos. So, to scare away. The next one, to make a killing. Now, again, I said this one has to do with Halloween. Not really. Because to make money is to, but the word killing, asesinato, Halloween, serial killers, all that stuff, So to make a killing, they made a killing with their startup. A startup is a small company. To make a killing. And we looked at that one in the Make and Do episode of FYI. If you haven't listened to it, you can listen to that wherever you get your Vaughn podcasts. Search for Your Ingles. To make a killing, right? He's rolling in it. That's another way to say it. He made a killing with that venture. And I love that word. The word venture is a really nice way of saying business or project. You should try and not adventure, just venture, empezando con V. Try and incorporate that into your business vocabulary, and you'll see it's awesome. And the last one, which is quite similar in Spanish, le falta un tornillo. We don't say he's missing a screw. We say he has a screw loose, suelto. He has a screw loose. This guy is screwy. El adjetivo is screwy. Shout out to my grandpa, Alberto. He used to say that one a lot. That was his favorite. Oh, that guy, he's screwy. Este está loco, está pirao. No le falta un tornillo. So he has a screw loose, right? Not lose, como perder, sino loose, con dos O's. And the word screw is tornillo. It's also fornicar. That's right. And it's also a substitute for fuck. So the same way I can say fuck off, fuck you, I can say screw off, screw you. I mean, it's still not nice, but I guess it's softer than fuck. I don't know. It depends. You want it soft or hard? Sorry, I couldn't help it. No pude evitar. You know me, I can't stay away from the corny jokes. They won't scare me away. Just because a joke is corny, it won't scare me away. A mí no me espantan los corny jokes. I'm never going to make a killing with my jokes. Nunca me voy a forrar. But it's a good thing for someone who has a screw loose to do. No, es algo que está bien para alguien que está un poco tuercas, I think you say as well. To have a screw loose. All right? And let's see. How do we say, ya que estamos con el concepto de screw, how do we say destornillador? Screwdriver. Screwdriver. Do you have a screwdriver? Oh, great. And how do we say apretar? To screw it in or to tighten, tight, apretado, or más específico, screw it in. Y el inverso, loosen, acabamos de ver, loose, suelto, right? Loosen it, or screw it out. Did you say screw it out? No, it's unscrew it. Ojalá. Yeah, sometimes we're logical. It's the same thing as plug. Me recuerda el formato de plug. Plug it in. Enchúfalo. Plug it in. Unplug it. It's not plug it out. Apúntalo. Write it down. It's good to know these little things, because I think in a logical world, it would make sense to say screw it out, but it's unscrew it. Screw it. Y ahí ya acabo. Screw it. Que le den. Screw it. A very versatile word nonetheless. All right, well, great job to everyone who participated. And now it's time for today's Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee. Spelling Bee.
All right, amigos, are you ready? Are you ready for round one of your Spelling Bee? Well, this is a chance, if you haven't noticed, what we usually do in this section is I find an event that happened in history on this day or something, the first moon lander, NASA, whatever. And, well, I try and teach you English around that historical topic. So what I'm going to do today is give you a series of names. All these names have something in common in American history, and we'll see if you guys can figure it out. The first time, I am going to fly through it. Oh, wait, why are we revving our engines here? Where are we going? Okay, well, I guess we're going right into it. This round is not for the faint of heart. Here we go. Let's capitalize, since their names, we'll capitalize the first letter of every word. Here we go. O period, J period, space, SIM, PSON. The second one, NICOLE, space, BROWN, space, SIM, PSON. The third one, RONALD, space, GOLDMAN. The fourth one, ROBERT, space, SHAPIRO. The fifth one is JOHNNIE, space, COCHRAN. And the last one is F period, space, LEE, space, BAILEY.
Howdy, Richard Vaughn here, founder and host of Vaughn Radio. Meet my amazing team.
Hello there, this is Julia from the Let's Get Random show. Let's navigate life together, practicing our English.
Hi, this is Kyle Miller. I present the Drive Time Show every day at 6 o'clock on Vaughn Radio.
Hi, this is Jimena.
Y yo soy Nacho.
And you can listen to us every day on Test Your English
A las 12:30.
at 12:30. Tune in.
This is Fitz from No Excuses. Let's get ready to rumble. Come rumble with me on No Excuses.
This is Chris with Frankly Speaking. The doors open every night at 7:30. Let's talk soon.
Hi, this is Dave Boyes from The Salad. Join us every day, live at 5.
Hey, it's Alberto Alonso from the show with no name. And don't forget about Rob, Andy, Ruby, and Tino.
Download our free app, Vaughan Radio or Vaughn Radio, and learn English with all of us on the go.
All right, we have got some winners here. I can't believe it. Jeez. We have got some winners in today's Spelling Bee, so give it up for our show with no namers who are always on the ball, siempre espabilados. All right, well, let's go with round two. Round two, this is for me, for example, because I know myself. And being honest, I don't think I could get it on the first go, just because... I told you, I've got a screw loose. I'm a little slow sometimes. Hey, at least I admit it. Here we go, folks. The first one is O period, J period, space, SIM, PSON. The second one, NICOLE space BROWN space SIMPSON. This is very fair, by the way. The third one, RONALD space GOLDMAN. The fourth one, ROBERT space SHAPIRO. The fifth one, JOHNNIE space COCHRAN. And the sixth, I was going to say the fifth, the sixth and final one, F period space LEE space BAILEY. There you go, my amigos, some names that will definitely ring a bell in history. And I see we've got some more students figuring it out. Nice job. These are all names associated with the O.J. Simpson murder trial. That's right. This was something that was, oh man, it was everywhere. I remember them rolling a TV into our classroom in college, in la universidad, when they were announcing the verdict. So that was, I can't believe it, 1995 today. I can tell you exactly where I was when they announced the verdict. You say veredicto, we say verdict. It's V-E-R-D-I-C-T. O sea, parecido, pero vosotros tenéis una sílaba más. This is good vocabulary to know if you didn't know it. I mean, hopefully you'll never be in a legal situation or on trial, but it's still good to know this vocabulary. And if you haven't listened to it, there's an FYI episode on crime. So we talk about delito mayor, all this kind of vocabulary that comes up. And again, with Halloween around the corner, well, maybe it's a good time to review this macabre vocabulary. Now, if you haven't seen this case, it's a fascinating case. And if you like, lawyers, attorneys, courtroom kind of stuff, I mean, you couldn't write this better. I just remember it was a fascinating time, and it proved that it's not about justice. It's about who has better lawyers, right? That's what we realized, in case you didn't know it before, at least in the United States. So today in 1995, O.J. Simpson was acquitted. Acquitted, absuelto, you say? Acquitted of the murders of Nicole Brown Simpson and Ronald Goldman. Now, those are some of the names we had in our spelling bee. The first name is O.J. Simpson. You say OJ, we say O.J. Simpson. And guys, in case you don't know who he was, have you seen The Naked Gun? Agárralo como puedas. Remember the guy who's injured, who's in the wheelchair? He's, the guy who's in the hospital the whole time, the black guy. That's O.J. Simpson. All right. So even if you didn't watch football, he was doing commercials. I mean, he was people loved him. OJ, they looked up to him. He was an example of a black guy who, came out of the whole story. I don't have to tell you it. And well, that took a dangerous turn, a dark turn. And so one night they found Nicole Brown Simpson, his ex-wife, and Ronald Goldman, a friend of hers, brutally murdered. And so that's name 2 and 3. Number 4 was Robert Shapiro. If you love law, you should study this guy's biography. Robert Shapiro. Johnny Cochran was number 5. And number 6 was F. Lee Bailey. And that's what's called the Dream Team. Those 3 guys, among others, made it so that even though it was pretty blatantly obvious that O.J. Simpson did this, committed these murders, well, he was acquitted. I just told you. He was acquitted. And I think half of the country was in shock. I think the whole country, even the people who were, supporting him, which was many of the African Americans at that time, because they made it into a racial thing. Really, really interesting case. And we just looked at it in today's Spelling Bee. But right now, we've got to go to a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with much more Show with No Name. So stick around. Hey, amigos, welcome back. Welcome back to part 3. Are you serious? Wow, whoa. Part 3 of today's Show with No Name here on Vaughn Radio. This is your last chance. If you want to participate in our question of the week, don't hesitate. No, do this. It's our question of the week section. It's every Friday, and it's a chance for you to practice your English speaking. And if you want to put your English to the test, well, don't forget, after today's show at 12:30 on the Vaughn Radio app, you can tune in to Jimena Holiday's program, and she will teach you English. She will test your English as well. After that, you've got Rob and Andy in the lunchtime show with a little bit of banter. Cha-cha-da. You've got Let's Get Random with Jules Linares. You've got Speak Up with Ruby. The Salad with Dave Boys. Don't forget about Kyle Miller's Drive Time. More challenges. You've got challenges all day long. Starting with Fitz. I know he puts you to the test as well in his master class. Well, don't miss it, folks. I mean, I feel very lucky to be sandwiched in between them. I don't know if I would want to be sandwiched in between them in real life. I'm claustrophobic. But what an honor. I've got Fitz before me. I've got Jimena after me. And you guys are lucky not just to have such great English teachers, but both of them, and I should say everyone here at Vaughn Radio, some I know more than others, are just excellent, magical people. All right, my amigos, let's rock and roll with our homophones on the show with no name.
Homophones on the show with no name. It's homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. Homophones on the show with no name. Cause homophones time, cause homophones rhyme. They sound the same on the show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name. The show with no name.
All right. Let's take a look at these tricky words. In every show, we look at these nuances, matices, because, well, sometimes the difference between a word is just one little sound, like uncle and ankle. Say them with me. My uncle sprained his ankle. My uncle sprained his ankle. I know it's a confusing one. What's another one? There's shit on the sheet. I hope this isn't a sentence you ever have to use, because that is gross. Sorry, I had to. You can see my maturity level here. Hey, I'm just also making sure you're paying attention. From time to time, I'll throw one of those sound effects in there, you know? Just want to make sure. I don't want you falling asleep in my class. All right. Honestly, let's focus here. The first word is ceder, renunciar, admitir. Okay? There's a phrasal verb we could use, and it's to give in. But I'm not looking for the phrasal verb. It's good to know it, though. And it's in the give episode, the upcoming give episode of FYI. We'll look at it. So to give in would be the phrasal verb. But there's a way of saying that is not a phrasal verb. Again, the word is ceder, renunciar, admitir. Okay? And the second word is semilla, pepita. Okay? Germen, if we're talking about an idea, because we use it in the figurative sense, not just in the literal sense. It's also used in sports. Cabeza de serie. Guys, are you seeing a double trouble here in the future? I think so too. So the second word is semilla, pepita, germen. The first word is another way to say to give in, which is ceder. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know if you know those words and if they sound exactly the same. And I'm going to give you your Say What soundbite for the third time. Jot this down.
For me, it hit me a couple of years ago, and when I noticed we're playing live, and I'm looking out, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder, and the son is fucking 6, 7 years old, going.
All right, there you go. You don't have to say the last part. I'm going is y yo digo. You know, I go and he goes. Es otra forma de yo digo. But you don't have to worry about that because it was hard to, sometimes it's hard to edit something because like he's in the middle of a sentence, but I don't think that part's important. Okay. So let me give it to you a fourth time.
For me, it hit me a couple of years ago, and when I noticed we're playing live, and I'm looking out, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder, and the son is fucking 6, 7 years old, going.
Listen carefully. Can you hear that? No. Listen closer. I'm not talking about the birds chirping. I'm talking about everybody speaking English and feeling comfortable. Listen. This is what it's like at Vaughan Town, a peaceful place where you can really learn English and lose your inhibitions. There's a reason it's one of our star programs. Vaughan Town, lose your fear of speaking English. If you want more information about this immersive experience, go to grupovaughan.com or give us a call, 911-385831. Lose your fear of speaking English and express yourself with clarity at Vaughan Town. Yes, Vaughan Town, Weekend Town, one-to-one flex, Disney Vaughan English. We've got it all. Groups, whatever you're looking for, you can find it over at grupovaughan.com/cursos destacados. Don't forget to, you can sign up to our newsletter, and this way you get English right to your inbox. Also, you'll find out about special deals, upcoming events, and another thing you can do, which is really easy, is just click follow on social media, and then you will be in the know. We looked at that expression in FYI last week, to be in the know, right? If you haven't listened to the episode on know, well, how are you going to have the know-how? ¿Cómo vas a tener el conocimiento? All right, let's take a look at our homophones. I see a lot of people participating, and it looks like the general consensus is that the words sound the same. All right, I'm going to say, voy a ceder una semilla. I'm going to seed a seed. Do they sound the same? Absolutely. Now, you want me to be dead honest with you? I personally don't use the word seed, cede. I use the word seed like sunflower seeds, watermelon seeds, grape seeds, no, en una uva. So seeds, yeah, we use that one quite often. And also to seed is sembrar, right? To sow, de hecho, la expresión, you reap what you sow, right? But you can also, ahora, eso es en la expresión no lo puedes cambiar, but another way of saying sowing is seeding. And you might know it from a Tears for Fears song. Sowing the seeds of love, the seeds of love, sowing the seeds of love. And by the way, sow is a homophone. Now, I know what you're going to say. What? Wait, but let me explain. So has 3 different meanings here. If I just say the sound, it's so, así que, so S-O, it's so, S-E-W, coser, que no es su es demandar, speaking of legal terms. And so, S-O-W, que es sembrar en la tierra. So, repaso. So, you're going to sew before you sew your jacket? O sea, you're going to sow the seeds. Vamos a poner los 3 para que sea clarísimo. Sow, S-O. You're going to sow the seeds, S-O-W, before you sew your sweater, S-E-W. Write the 3 words together in your notebook, and then you'll never forget that those words go together like rama, lama, 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 ding-a-ding-da-dang. Folks, it's time for your double trouble, yeah.
Double trouble, baby. Yeah, you know what time it is. Give it up. Double trouble. I said double trouble. Double trouble. I said double trouble.
That's right, amigos. It is time for our Double Trouble here on the show with no name. And as you know, Double Trouble is a section where we have to use the same word twice. A little bit different than homophones, right? In homophones, it's words that may or may not sound the same. In both cases, I'm sure you guys could come up with your own jokes if you thought about it long and hard. All right, let's go. Le dije que no iba a charlar con nadie con antecedentes. Okay, perdona, that's difficult to say. Me ha costado la vida decir eso ahí. Jeez. Okay, let me try again. Here's where you're seeing my shortcomings, mis fallos, shortcomings, que no llego, no doy la talla. My shortcomings in Spanish. Here we go. Focus, Alberto. Le dije que no iba a charlar con nadie con antecedentes. Me ha costado ese antecedentes. All right. So there you go, my amigos. Charlar, hablar, estar de palique, cháchara, what I always say about Rob and Andy, right? You can shoot the breeze with them. You can shoot the shit with them, right? Esas son 2 formas de decir estar de palique, estar de cháchara, charlar. But this is a different one. We'll see if you are familiar with it. And as I said, we're looking at criminology a lot today. I've got to say something. In college, universidad, in the States, I don't know here, but you get free electives. So your last year, you can kind of take some other classes that are outside of your major to explore. Who knows? You might find something you love. In my case, it's true. I took a criminology class, and it was at 7 a.m. I was never late to class. It was fascinating. And the teacher, the teacher was fascinating, but she was in a wheelchair. So, I was like, what? It was like, what an experience. And she taught us so much about criminal. I think everybody was fascinated. And now look at it. Half of the documentaries you see are about court cases. So it's good. You can get this vocabulary. And in fact, if you want to understand half of the things on Netflix, the Menendez brothers, Monsters, that one that came out recently that my wife and I are watching. Well, it's a great place to get that vocabulary. If you want a refresher, un poco de refrescar, ¿no? Actualizarlo un poco, you can listen to the FYI episode on crime. All right, let's see if anybody got our double trouble. It's le dije que no iba a charlar con nadie con antecedentes. Me sigue costando la vida. ¿No hay otra forma de decir eso en español? My goodness. All right, well, you can say in English a criminal record. Ahora, no es la que he puesto, because then it's not a double trouble. But you could say, I told him that I wasn't going to talk to anybody with a criminal record. I told him, no es como la H. I told him I wasn't going to talk to anybody with a criminal record. Great. You can say it like that, but that's not a double trouble. As you guys figured out, and great job to all of you. I told him I wasn't going to rap with anyone with a rap sheet. That's right. So I know you know rap from the music. The rap, everybody knows that word. And it's a homophone too. To rap, envolver con W. Right? Lo sabéis de los Mac raps y esto. So we've looked at a lot. Guys, we've looked at a lot of homophones on today's show here. But this one, they're both spelt the same. Right? In fact, in double trouble, it's the same spelling. So I told him, vamos a decirlo todos juntos. I told him I wasn't gonna, se puede decir going to, pero yo no lo diría. I told him I wasn't gonna rap with anyone with a rap sheet. I told him I wasn't gonna rap with anyone with a rap sheet. To rap, it's not formal talk. Piénsalo. Rapeo es blah, 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 blah. ¿Qué te digo? It's estar de cháchara. So you could say, hey, man, it was nice rapping with you. Me gustó estar de cháchara contigo. It was nice shooting the breeze with you, shooting the shit with you, as long as you don't have a rap sheet or a criminal record. And folks, you can shoot the shit, you can shoot the breeze, or rap with my friends Rob and Andy in the lunchtime show every day here on Vaughn Radio. Don't miss it. All right, well, wonderful job. Let's move on, folks. It's time for famous birthday trivia.
Famous birthdays for you. Famous birthdays for me. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name. Famous birthdays for him. Famous birthdays for her. Famous birthdays for everyone on the show with no name.
That's right. Welcome to our famous birthday section here on the show. It's a pleasure to have you with us, and especially if it's your birthday. In fact, let me check my calendar. Do we have any Wait a second. Am I going crazy here? Well, we'll celebrate it tomorrow. But folks, we have got a stellar birthday coming up on Saturday. We'll celebrate it, as I said, tomorrow. Our buddy Born to Iron Man. I've got you in my calendar. I've got your number. Te tengo calado, te tengo fichado. So don't forget, tomorrow we're going to not only do our question of the week, but we'll be celebrating Born to Iron Man's birthday, which is coming up this weekend. All right, let's see who's celebrating a birthday today. The first person was born in 1978. She is an American actress. She's been, no sé por qué, he oído gente decir been, pero es muy raro. Been. She's been, o sea, 9 times out of 10, you're going to hear been. She's been in many films, such as A Knight's Tale, el cuento, no sé cómo lo traducís, el cuento de un caballero, classic love comedy, you know, one of these rom-coms. I've never seen it, naturally. A Knight's Tale. Also, 40 Days and 40 Nights in 2002. 2002, she also did The Rules of Attraction. She was also in Kiss, Kiss, Bang, Bang. That's an awesome movie. Have you seen that with Robert Downey Jr. and this woman? Oh, man. Awesome. She was also in The Road to Nowhere, Sinister. That's a good word, too. Today we're talking about Halloween-y things. Sinister. Siniestro. Pensaba yo, digo, no puede ser tan... Yeah, ahí lo tienes. Sinister. Siniestro. Number 2, this person was born today in 1969. She is no doubt the lead singer of No Doubt. Bueno, No Doubt is el grupo, right? And you might know some of their songs. I'm just a girl living in captivity and I'm in... Or don't speak, I know what you're thinking. And I got to say something. I love the name of the album. It's a play on words because Disney has the Magic Kingdom. And that album that made them huge, put them on the map, was called Tragic Kingdom and the Magic Kingdom. And then she's also got Hey Baby, and It's My Life, not the Bon Jovi one, right? Because he goes, it's my life and it's now or never. Hers is different. It's now I can't get it in my head, but It's My Life by No Doubt. What a song. I love No Doubt. There's no doubt about it. And she's the lead singer. And last but not least, this guy was born today in 1962. You may have seen his penis before anything else. What? Well, if you're into heavy metal or hard rock, then maybe you might have seen him as the drummer of Motley Crue. But if you saw the Pamela Anderson sex tape, then maybe you met his member before he was a member of Motley Crue. Well, he was a member then, but if you don't know that music, I'm sure many people discovered Tommy Lee because of his member, not because he was a member of the group. All right. Well, I just gave you his name over there. I think I just let the cat out of the bag. All right, number 1, Shannon Sosaman. Number 2, Gwen Stefani. And number 3, Tommy Lee. Tommy Lee from Motley Crue. And that's going to bring us to our Say What soundbite. This is Tommy Lee from Motley Crue, the drummer. By the way, if you haven't seen it, check out his spinning or revolving drum set. It's crazy. I don't know how he can drum and spin around. It must be fun, but I don't know how he can do it. Well, this is him realizing that his group has stood the test of time. In fact, a shout out to Rob, Andy, Fitz, and Kyle. We went to see Motley Crue and Def Leppard together. And you know what Tommy said? Saca las tetas. Te lo juro. That's Tommy Lee, guys. If you get offended by that, don't go to a Motley Crue concert. They're not really known for being nice boys. In fact, a Motley Crue is vaya grupo variopinto. What a Motley Crue. Living up to their name, honrando a su nombre. So this is him realizing that all different generations listen to Motley Crue. And he says, for me, it hit me a couple of years ago. Me di cuenta. Wow, it hit me, we say. Pow. It hit me a couple of years ago when I noticed we were playing live and I'm looking out into the audience, he means, and I'm seeing this more and more. Y cada vez lo veo más y más. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder. El padre, con el hijo en los hombros. And the son's fucking 6, 7 years old. Y el niño solo tiene 6 o 7 años. and he is a Motley Crue fan. Awesome. I see that. You can see that too at Ozzy Osbourne concerts. You know, some of those Kiss concerts, I remember seeing it at a Kiss concert. It's a nice moment. You see the son and the dad, or the mom and the son going, I want to rock and roll all night. All right, let's hear rocker Tommy Lee.
For me, it hit me a couple of years ago, and when I noticed we're playing live, and I'm looking out, and I'm seeing this more and more and more. I'm seeing the dad with their son on his shoulder, and the son is fucking 6, 7 years old, going.
All right, folks, that is Tommy Lee, the one and only Tommy Lee. We've got to go to a quick commercial break right now. I can't believe it. It is our final commercial break, and we're coming back with the fourth and final part of today's show. And you're in for a treat. Os espera una sorpresita. I have decided, since we were talking about crime today and killers and all that stuff, and Halloween is around the corner, well, I decided to give you guys an exclusive today. So you will hear the bonus episode of FYI on crime. This is a Vaughn Radio exclusive, and you might want to grab your pens, your notebooks, because it is chock full of awesome vocabulary. And we'll take a look at that and much more after this quick commercial break. So stick around. Enjoy, amigos. Hello, and welcome to the bonus episode of this week's FYI on crime. I remember an ad campaign when I was a kid, and it was a dog. I can't remember his name now, but I remember the catchphrase, the slogan was, "Take a bite at a crime." I'll share it with you guys on Patreon so you can take a look at it. But it was one of the many ad campaigns against crime. And just like we looked at in our drugs episode, we've got a war on crime, a war on drugs, a war on everything, it seems. But nothing seems to be getting better. Well, let's start out by taking a look at the profile of a serial killer. And obviously, anyone can be a serial killer. If you lose your mind in a second of passion or something like that, that wouldn't make you a serial killer. But I guess anyone could be a killer. But anybody who repeats that and likes doing it and gets pleasure out of doing it, what kind of personality traits do they usually have? Well, they're usually psychopaths. They usually display narcissism and a lack of empathy in general. A lot of times they have patterns of childhood abuse or trauma. And research suggests that adverse childhood experiences, such as neglect, abuse, or even witnessing violence, let's say there was domestic abuse in their home and the child witnessed it, that affects them. Of course it will. Even verbal abuse, not directed at the child, can affect them. Remember, they're little sponges, guys. They feel everything. But all these things significantly increase the risk of developing criminal tendencies later in life. Also, you've got substance abuse and addiction. These are other things that can contribute to criminal behavior. And obviously, if you already have mental issues, that will only exacerbate them. And a lot of times they're linked together. In order to keep up your criminal activity, you're selling drugs or weapons. And this is how you support your habits. And I imagine if you're high on drugs, you're not really thinking very clearly. Let's take a look at some fun facts right now. We'll start off with necrophilia. Yay! Lots of fun there. Well, I'll get to it, guys. Necrophilia is not fun, but there's something that's pretty crazy here that's going to blow your mind. In case you don't know it, I imagine you do. Necrophilia involves sexual attraction to corpses, to dead bodies, and it includes the act of having sex with said corpse. This is surely illegal, right? Right? Well, there is no federal law against it in the United States. In some states, necrophilia is a felony offense. As we said, the most serious kind. But in other states, it's a mere misdemeanor. And, are you ready for this? Here's the cherry on top. In over 20 states, there is no law against necrophilia. And this is not just in the United States, but many other countries do not have established laws against the act of necrophilia. I mean, I guess maybe it's common sense they're thinking? I don't know. It seems like a dead issue. Okay, not funny. Well, did you know that in the country of Samoa, it is a crime to forget your wife's birthday? Imagine that. I guess the wives there are really happy. They're like, you forgot my birthday. You're going to the slammer, buddy. And the slammer is another way of saying prison. You're going behind bars. You're going in the slammer. And think about it, the sound that the door makes, slam, when they close the prison doors. So Samoans, or anybody who's visiting Samoa, don't forget your wife's birthday. It could be punishable by law. Some more fun facts. If you ever get thrown into the trunk of a car, this is a very famous scene from the movie Goodfellas, Uno de los Nuestros. Well, if you ever happen to owe the mafia any money and you get thrown into the trunk of a car, there's a little thing you can do, a little trick, a little hack that can help you. What you have to do is you have to find the back tail lights and then kick them out. Then you stick your arm through the hole and you start waving your arm like a crazy person. Supposedly, the driver can't see you, but the people behind you will. And there have been many cases where this has saved lives. Hey, I hope I never have to use it, but it's good to know. And if you're like me, well, maybe you're short on cash. As the expression goes, a day late, a buck short. That means nunca llego. Well, don't worry. You can sell your organs on the black market. Do you really need your kidney, tu riñón? Yeah, I think you do. I think it's your tonsils that you don't need. But your kidney, I think you need. Well, if you can get by without it, you can pocket 160 grand, folks. That's on the black market. And they say that the donor usually receives around $5,000 of that. So that's a lot of money for the middlemen there. But there's a huge market for selling body parts and organs. Let's talk a little bit about arson. As I said, arson is the act of lighting a fire on purpose. 86% of arsonists are male. And it's true. I hate to be sexist or stereotype here, but it seems like all the girls I grew up with stayed away from fire instinctively. And all the boys I knew, we would run to it. And I know people who are even pyromaniacs. They love watching things burn. Now, I love sitting next to a fireplace like the next guy, but I would not want to light a match in a place and watch a forest burn or something like that. It's actually quite scary, which, by the way, we've got an episode on fire. If you haven't listened to it, give it a listen. Now, here's an interesting fact which makes you really think about who's in your circle. According to the FBI's Uniform Crime Reporting Program, they say 65% of people personally know their thief. So that means there's a very good chance your neighbor or an acquaintance or even a friend or a family member could attempt to rob you. Trust no one. Hey, I'm not saying that you shouldn't trust anyone, but don't be too trusting. I remember reading something like that as well. Like most sexual abuse or sexual offenses are from somebody near the family, not some stranger. So I know when my daughter's with anyone, whether it's a neighbor or even family members, I'm watching like a hawk. And you have to know the right questions, and you have to teach your kids to be able to identify not just bad people, because bad people, it's clear, this guy's bad. Just look at his face. You know, he doesn't look healthy. He doesn't look like a good person. But a lot of these people, a lot of these aggressors, a lot of these perpetrators, they pose as nice people. They pose as, oh, I'm your friend, trust me. So what I'm always telling my daughter, it's not just bad people we have to be careful with. We have to be careful with people who are weird. Weird meaning they make us feel weird. And I remember reading that somewhere, and I'm applying it with my daughter all the time. As a parent, this is something that scares you all the time. Your kids, you don't want to leave them out there vulnerable. There are a lot of wackadoos, a lot of people who are really screwed up and should be behind bars. And they're not, because they haven't been caught yet, maybe because they got out on parole. To be on parole is, I think you say libertad condicional. It means you're out because of good behavior. But if you do anything, you're back in. So you have a parole officer, and you have to check in with that person. And other ones have just gotten very light sentences, a slap on the wrist, as I said before. We mentioned GTA before, Grand Theft Auto. In the United States, the best-selling vehicle for the last 43 years is the Ford F-Series pickup truck. And it also takes the top spot as the most stolen vehicle in the United States as well. The title used to be held by the Honda Civic. I guess these are top targets for car thieves. Let's take a look at some crime in pop culture. As I said before, it's everywhere. In series, there are documentaries, there are docu-series. I know with my wife, I've seen one on Jeffrey Dahmer. I've seen another one on Ted Bundy. I've seen another one on O.J. Simpson. And then all of these other ones about these little town crimes. But obviously, they're making them because they're selling, because they have viewers, because people are interested. It's even a genre in the world of podcasting, true crime. And I even subscribe to some of these podcasts. So we all have that morbid curiosity, don't we? My favorite movie that has to do with crime, I would say off the top of my head, is Shawshank Redemption. You call it cadena perpetua, which in English is, a very logical word, a life sentence, sentencia por vida. This is a movie that stars Morgan Freeman. Did you catch the irony there? Freeman, he's in prison. Well, he does break out. Oops, I didn't mean to give you a spoiler. Also, if you haven't seen that film at this stage in the game, you are missing out. It's a great movie. Tim Robbins, Morgan Freeman, and it's written by Stephen King. Some other crime movies that stand out, the Godfather series, all three of the trilogy. Goodfellas, which I just mentioned. Pulp Fiction. Scarface, which we looked at in our drugs episode. Once Upon a Time in America. Chinatown, that stars Jack Nicholson. The Untouchables, the story of Elliot Ness and the Chicago organized crime syndicate. The Departed, City of God, which was more about crimes committed by kids in poor ghettos. I remember seeing that at the movies in New York City, and it really impacted me. You've got Heat with Pacino, De Niro, and Val Kilmer. Gangs of New York, based on a true story. A Bronx Tale, that's directed by Robert De Niro. He also is in the movie. It's fantastic. It's also a story about family and love. American Gangster, which is based on a true story as well. Carlito's Way, that's another one with Al Pacino. Donnie Brasco, where Johnny Depp goes undercover. And we heard a clip from that as well. We heard the forget about it scene. These are all not just movies about crime, but they're all really good movies. And the last one on our list is Reservoir Dogs. But I guess you could put any Tarantino or any Scorsese movie in there. Also, don't forget about Training Day. That's another one that has to do with crime and law enforcement. It stars Denzel Washington and Ethan Hawke. And a lot of the extras were members of the Crips and other gangs around the area. So if you said, wow, that movie really looks authentic, they really were gangbangers, guys. I can just imagine when Payday came. Okay, here's your $100 for the day. What do you mean $100? We said 150. Cough it up. Suéltalo. I mean, you're dealing with gangbangers here. They don't really read fine print or sign contracts too often. Everything is done under the table. Paying somebody under the table can be employing them illegally without papers. Obviously, it means hidden, a escondidas. On the DL, on the down low, as we say. And now we're going to face the music. Oh, there's a good idiomatic expression. And this is to face the consequences. But what we're going to talk about is music right now. And even the names of bands have to do with death and killing and crimes in general. There's a whole genre called gangster rap. Bow, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay, Snoop Dogg's in the motherfucking house. Bow, wow, wow, yippee-yo, yippee-yay. I mean, Dr. Dre has a song called Natural Born Killers. There's even a movie called Natural Born Killers. Great movie, by the way. But other bands with criminal names, Slayer, Asesino, Slayer. The Killers, I mean, that's their name right there, Los Asesinos. And they have a killer song. A killer song de muerte, lo mejor. It's called Jenny Was a Friend of Mine. And this song was really inspired by the crimes of a killer, Robert Chambers, a.k.a. the Preppy Killer. Did you know that? I'm sure you guys know the song. Well, it has to do with a serial killer. Also the song, I Don't Like Mondays by the Boomtown Rats. This song was inspired by the crimes of Brenda Ann Spencer. Brenda Ann Spencer, on January 29th, 1979, opened fire on an elementary school across the street from her home. She injured 9 students and killed 2 administrators. And then when they asked her for her motive, you say su móvil, her reason for doing the crime, she simply responded, I don't like Mondays. Oh my God. Well, Bob Geldof of the Boomtown Rats thought it was interesting enough to make a song. I don't like Mondays. It's not about Garfield the cat. It's about Brenda Ann Spencer. You've also got Hurricane by Bob Dylan, and that's also a movie too. And it's the story of Reuben Hurricane Carter, a boxer who was framed for murdering people that he didn't murder. And he spent most of his life in prison. I believe, who's in the movie? Denzel Washington plays Reuben Carter. Hey, Training Day, Hurricane. And if you haven't heard the song by Bob Dylan that inspired the movie, well, the story inspired the song, which inspired the movie. Here comes the story of the hurricane. The man the authorities came to blame for something that he never done. Put in a prison cell, but one time he could have been the champion of the world. Fascinating story, great song. Reuben Hurricane Carter. And there are a plethora of other songs that have to do with crimes. We already sang Bad Boys, what you gonna do? It's not just the movie Bad Boys, but what inspired the name of that movie is the series Cops. And the intro to today's show was inspired by the series Cops and every other cop movie out there. There's even a movie called Copland. I think it stars De Niro and Sly Stallone. But even songs you wouldn't think have something to do with crime. Na 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 na. Here come the hot stepper. I'm the lyrical gangster murderer. Excuse me, Mr. Officer, murderer. He's saying murderer, asesino, perdona. Officer. Officer is what you would say to a police officer. And by the way, if you get pulled over in my country or questioned by a police officer, don't be a smartass. Just say, yes, officer. Thank you, officer. You're right, officer. Because we all know what can happen if not. So we talk about that too. It's another issue. The police are supposed to protect and serve. When have they crossed that line? And now it's police brutality. So there's another issue that's debated a lot. How much is too much? Also, the Clash have a couple songs that have to do with crime. One called Bank Robber, which, by the way, we call a bank robbery a stick-up. Okay, guys, stick 'em up. Eso es manos al aire. So it's called the stick-up. This is a stick-up. And then they've got the ever so catchy, I fought the law and the law won. I fought the law and the law won.
I fought the law and the law won.
Then you got Paul McCartney,
Band on the run. Band on the run.
On the Run es a la fuga. And there he says band. He means a music band. If you were going to say una banda como de calle, you would say gang. And don't forget about Steve Miller and his philosophy, the joker, the smoker, the midnight toker. He's got a song that goes, come, take the money and run. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on, take the money and run. Coge el dinero y pírate. This is an idiomatic expression. One of my favorite bands, Jane's Addiction, they have a song called,
I've been caught stealing once when I was 5. I didn't just give in. It's just simple as that.
So, been caught stealing, me pillaron robando. Y hurto, robar de una tienda, is shoplifting. Kind of makes sense. You lift something from a shop. Have you heard of the 5-finger discount? Eso es que lo has mangado. You stole it. How much was that? I got it in the 5-finger discount. Also, don't forget, you've got Britney Spears and her song Criminal, and another song that was inspired by vicious, heinous crimes, Smooth Criminal by Michael Jackson. And Richard Ramirez, a.k.a. the Night Stalker, inspired this song. There's a documentary about the Night Stalker. My wife and I have seen it. Yeah, see, I'm criticizing society for being so hungry for crime stuff, but I'm a part of that group. I guess, again, it's that morbid curiosity. Who knows? But I love the lyrics to Smooth Criminal. You want to sing along with me?
As he came into the window was the sound of a crescendo. He came into her apartment, left the bloodstains on the carpet. She ran underneath the table. He could see she was unable. So she ran into the bedroom. She was struck down. It was her doom. Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? Are you okay, Annie? Annie, are you okay? Annie, are you okay? You've been hit by, you've been struck by a smooth criminal.
And if you like the Michael Jackson version, you'll love the Alien Ant Farm version. Check out Smooth Criminal by Alien Ant Farm. It's a more rock and roll version. But did you know the lyrics to that song? Well, now you do. And what a great song it is. And don't forget about our friend Bob Marley.
I shot the sheriff, but I did not shoot the deputy. Ooh, 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 I shot the sheriff.
And Jailhouse Rock by Elvis Presley. And even Queen in Bohemian Rhapsody.
Mama just killed a man, put a gun against his head, pulled my trigger, now he's dead. Goodbye, everybody.
Even Queen. And don't forget about Johnny Cash, who did a series of concerts that are now famous at Folsom Prison. Check it out if you haven't seen those. Excellent. Let's talk a little bit about the dark side, even though most crime is a dark side, right? It's the underbelly of a city, of a society. So let's talk about the crime rate. It looks like it's soaring in the United States. Again, I don't know whether to believe the mainstream media or not, but man, it does not look like a peaceful society. And our answers just keep putting people in prison. According to the figures I found, the U.S. prison system holds 1.9 million people in 1,566 state prisons, 98 federal prisons, 3,116 local jails, 1,323 juvenile correction facilities, 142 immigration detention facilities, and so on and so forth. I think it's no secret that the U.S. is the world's leader in incarceration. Go USA! And the sad part, nearly 500,000 inmates in the U.S. on any given day have not been convicted of a crime yet because the system is just bottlenecked. So people are sitting in prison for 3 years waiting for trial, and they haven't been proved guilty yet. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? And we already talked about the idea of whether prison really rehabilitates somebody. And most studies show that it doesn't. It actually has adverse psychological effects on the people who are there. especially if they're there for some kind of misdemeanor. But obviously, it increases the risk of depression, anxiety, and the risk of being a repeat offender, which is the whole reason we want to get you in there. So you won't offend again, so you won't be a repeat offender. But it's not working. At least it doesn't seem like it is. So there are experts who are looking over this every day. But don't forget, the prison system is privatized. It's a big, big business. So more people incarcerated means building more prisons, more money in the pockets of these fat cats. And you can blame video games, music, and all that jazz, and I agree. But also I agree that it's a parent's responsibility to decide what is consumed in a home. And I don't just mean food. I mean entertainment and everything. But kids have access to technology, and they can see fights. I mean, how many times have I opened up my Twitter and seen somebody shooting somebody or beating somebody up? We're normalizing this shit. And we'll talk about capital punishment really quickly. Have you heard of Old Sparky? Old Sparky is another name for the electric chair, which was invented by a dentist. Sounds like a really good dentist. Oh my God. I wonder if he was torturing his patients, or at least using them as guinea pigs. Well, as many of you know, the electric chair is still in use in some states. And what about hanging? Well, hanging is still legal in Washington, New Hampshire, and Delaware. In 1977, they introduced lethal injection, but that's a big debate. Capital punishment. Do we do it? And I'm not going to share my opinion about this because I really don't have one. Thankfully, this is not an issue I deal with. I think this and a lot of the issues that politicians bring up are just distractions. So I'm not even going to comment on capital punishment. Let's talk about the economy. Let's talk about why we're making the same money we were making 5 years ago and everything costs double. That's what we should all be talking about. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. Forget about capital punishment. How many criminals do you know? Violent criminals. Anyway, moving on, let's take a look at some idiomatic expressions. Here's one. If you do the crime, you do the time. And this just means if you've committed a crime, well, to do time means to go to prison. To do hard time means to go to prison for a long time. If you're like the guys in our movie Shawshank Redemption, then you can break out of prison. There's even a show called Prison Break. And to break in is to enter in a place, to trespass. Somebody broke into our neighbor's house, entró a robar, and they were caught red-handed. This is how you say manos en la masa. I told them they had to spill the beans. They had to come clean. These are two different ways to say to confess. Or I was going to rat them out, chivarme de ellos, because they didn't cover their tracks. To cover your tracks is to make sure there's no evidence left behind. They thought they were going to get away with murder. Well, not literal murder, but this is an idiomatic expression. To get away with it, to get away with murder. Salirse con la suya, que no hay implicaciones. It's the opposite of when somebody throws the book at you. If we say the judge threw the book at him, that means he really punished the person severely. Another idiomatic expression, it's highway robbery. Robo por la autovía. That's when something is really expensive. How much was this smoothie? $12? This is highway robbery. I had one yesterday that was a steal. A steal no es un robo, sino un chollo. And speaking of steal, I hope these episodes have stolen your hearts and minds. And I hope you'll join us in next week's episodes of FYI.